What is going on, YouTube? It's a lovely day. Got another video for you guys today, and I'm doing a class setup video today, and I'm setting up classes for competitive play. This is for like tournament classes. So I'm gonna start with the SMG classes. I primarily run SMG. Sometimes I run AR, but the main SMG I use is the MSMC. Sometimes people use the Scorpion, and like it's all right, but the MSMC is way better. It's better on land. It's better, in that setting. So when I use the MSMC, the attachments I use are quick draw and long barrel. Quick draw so you can aim down the sight faster, get the jump on your opponent. That's always good. That's nice to have. And I use the long barrel so that so you get more damage over range. And a lot of people will say that it doesn't do anything and that it's not significant, but it does help. It is significant when you're in those gunfights. And there's really nothing like better to use in that setting. So for perk 1, I use lightweight so I can move around faster, not take falling damage, have more mobility, have a better strafe. Good stuff. Perk 2, I use toughness because you don't want to get flinched when you're getting shot at. Toughness is like mandatory basically on every class, except for like a shotgun, maybe a sniper. It's really good. And for perk 3, dexterity. In Hardpoint, you always want to use dexterity if you're running an SMG, because that way you can come out of sprint faster in close range, get the jump on people. It's always good. It's always going to help you. Now, you're going to want to double up on a perk, and depending on like what the other team's using, that will decide what that perk is. So you always want to have multiple classes set up, but most of the time I use extreme conditioning, and that's so you can run around a lot, get your job done faster, rotate faster, all that good stuff, helps your team out. If people are spamming a certain type of tactical grenade, then you can use like, what I have like 4 classes set up, one with extreme conditioning, one's got flak jacket if they're spamming nades, one's got hardwired if they're spamming EMPs. Hardwired's really good, by the way. It's really underrated, I think. And then one's got tactical mask if they're using stuns. I don't like getting stunned. It's terrible. Well, people are using stuns lately. So, like, people are going to be mixing it up, throwing all kinds of stuff at you. And then for the last 2 slots, you're going to want to use some sort of grenades. I use a smoke grenade and a Semtex. And the smoke is for creating cover, breaking hills, cutting off long sight lines when we're trying to break a hill. It's really useful. Very helpful. Takes some thought to use properly. It's not like an EMP, you can't just like spam it. And so if my teammate is using smoke and a Semtex, then I might use like double EMPs. I might use an EMP and a Semtex. I might use double stuns. I might use a stun and a Semtex. I could even use flashbangs. I like stuns better than flashbangs though. And then I usually don't use trophy systems if I'm in the hill, because like as an SMG you just want to be aggressive by nature. So like if you're using a trophy system, that's just kind of slowing you down. And it is nice to have them, but I'd say just let your ARs use trophies, because it's not really worth it for you to be a sub running around trying to get stuff done and then having to stop and throw down trophy systems every once in a while, Just not good. So what you run should depend on what your team runs. Somebody with EMPs, somebody with smoke, somebody with tacticals, or stuns, I mean. Everybody's got tacticals. So that's for SMGs. For ARs, I use the M8. The M8 and the AN are the 2 guns that get used, but the M8's just like better on land. I feel like it's a better just like AR. If you're using an A, you might as well just use an SMG. So I use adjustable stock, reflex sight, and then I use primary gunfighter. And I use quick draw. The stock is so you can strafe better and like move around faster when you ADS, because you're gonna be pre-aiming a lot of things as an AR. You don't want to like run into a close range fight and like challenge people like you do with an SMG. That's not how you want to play it. I use the reflex sight, so I have a more precise shot. It's always better. And then the quick draw, so you can get the jump on people, aim down the sight faster, aim in faster. For perk 1, I use flak jacket on my M8. A lot of people like to use lightweight, and that's okay. But I just feel like flak jacket helps me more. And the main thing is like, there's a couple of reasons. The one is that I don't like to get grenaded. And people say that like you can avoid grenades, which you can avoid grenades. You can see them coming to get out of the way. But then there's also like score streaks will come at you. Sometimes like a lot of anchor spots, are next to like a van or a car, like on standoff especially. And I don't like getting blown up. Like if you're in garage on raid, you might get blown up by that. And like, I just feel like that's more useful than being able to move a little bit faster with lightweight. And also, when you're like shooting the M8, you want to strafe a lot. Like, you don't want to have as wide of a strafe, or like you don't want to strafe as much when you're shooting at medium to long range, because then more of your bursts will connect. So like, if I'm already not strafing that much anyway, I just use flak jacket, because you're probably not going to win a lot of close-up fights anyway unless you get a lucky one burst. So that's why I use that. I use toughness. You know, that's mandatory. That's a no-brainer. And then for perk 3, I use either tac mask or extreme conditioning usually. And you don't really need dexterity on an AR because you're not going to be fighting a lot up close. You don't need to like run in there and try to outgun a sub or a shotgun or something close up. That's just not smart. It's kind of dumb. So I use tac mask if they're spamming stuns, and then I'll use extreme conditioning if they're not using stuns, so I can run around a lot more. And then for the last 2 slots, I'll use either, by run around a lot more, I don't mean like run around and like challenge people and stuff, I mean like so I can rotate faster and get to where I'm going faster. And then for the last 2 slots, I'll use either hardwired if they're spamming EMPs, or if they're not using any EMPs, then I'll use like double stuns, or I'll use double EMPs, or double trophies, you know, depends on the situation. I'll have more than one class set up at the time, and that'll help. And I guess for the last class I'll do a shotgun class. And I basically only use the shotgun on the church hardpoint on Yemen, which is like prime shotgun hill, you know. So it's really good on that hill. So I use, what do I use? I use quick draw, long barrel, and laser sight. Some people just use like 2 of those, but I use all 3. And so I use flak jacket. I use hardwired instead of toughness because on a shotgun it's a 1-shot kill. You don't need to worry too much about getting flinched if you're just going to kill him in 1 shot anyway. And then for perk 3, I use dexterity, and I use perk 3 greed, and I use tac mask, I believe. Yeah, so like I can sit in the hill, and I'm just immune to everything when I'm in that hill, and the only way for them to get me out is to run and charge in at me, and then they get shotgunned. And if I'm playing that right, then there's no way I should die if I'm in that hill. It's just like impossible. So yep, those are my class setups, everybody, for Hardpoint. Hope you guys enjoyed them. I'll do CTF and I'll do S&D in another video. But those are my Hardpoint classes. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Leave a comment with some feedback. And if you like the channel, subscribe, of course. So as always, have a lovely day. Peace.